Great. Well, for those of you who don't know, this is actually part of a bigger vision that we have. We believe that in the next 5 years, healthy homes will become the new energy efficiency. Over the last 10, 15 years, energy efficiency has really had ripple effects on codes, standards, home valuation process, how performance is rated within the homes, what consumers are looking for. But over the last couple of years, probably, it's fallen out of vogue really because the codes have moved so far in the direction that people just expect it to be part of what they get within their community. And we think there's an opportunity to leverage what's already been done in both the energy efficiency space, in the green building space, really to focus on health. We think it's a optimal time to do that really for a number of reasons. The first of which is certainly the market opportunity. So if you've been looking at health and wellness, the wellness industry globally is growing faster than the global economy, which is kind of scary. There's massive interest both at the millennials level and at the boomers level, certainly the two biggest groups that we have in society now. And also, there's an interesting opportunity. If you look, there's been some research that's been done that says that 80 to 90% of our health outcomes are based on the environments that we live in. Our homes first, then if you escalate that a bit to the community level and what resources you have access to in your community for your health and well-being, and then all the way up to the surrounding environment. So if you look at that at the home level and build up, really that will impact 80 to 90% of your health and well-being. And we've seen that in an unfortunate light really over the last few months because of the pandemic. And I think that's really brought things home in terms of the needs of investment in our healthcare infrastructure. And then also to be really looking at health more proactively. Why wait until you're not feeling well and you're ill and you have to deal with an illness? Why not first focus on living a better life to begin with and then hopefully have fewer ailments? So really there's that opportunity. Then certainly individually our circumstances now, 90% of the time that we spend is spent indoors. And before the pandemic hit, 50% of that was spent at home. I know I've been spending probably 80 or 90% of my time at home. And I've noticed, because I've been making upgrades to my house, that, and we all know this in the industry, that access to materials is an issue right now. Well, the home improvement landscape has grown by like 85 or 95% over last year's sales, just because people are really noticing and taking stock of where they live and how it's meeting their needs. And it's really become hard, to know. We can see how we feel in our homes, I should say, and then also how our homes make us feel. So those are really two different things. The first one's a little more superficial, and the second one is physically, what's that impact? And it's become really hard to ignore, I think, over the last few months. And then ultimately, as we said before, energy efficiency at this point, you could look at one builder to the next builder, and most people expect, in fact, everybody expects that if you get a new home now, it's going to be more energy efficient than if you buy an existing home. And, we've been hearing from our builders that there's really a diminishing return in some of those additional investments for the average consumer because, an extra 10 points on the HERS scale isn't really that compelling to someone, especially that our energy costs are going down in the same way that health would be. So I think we're seeing there's much more of an interest in a visceral reaction. So we want to show the bigger vision of where healthcare, the intersection of health and home can move in the future. And we think there's a huge opportunity there from a home performance standpoint.
Yeah, I think you hit a couple things there, Betsy. I'll just highlight, right? So we have the collision of two massive industries, right? Healthcare and real estate. We have a very timely conversation around kind of the holistic integration of health and wellness from a a mind, body, and soul perspective, which I think, it's beyond just medical healthcare that we have to consider
Right.
when we're creating these communities in the places. And I think, this isn't something that's new this isn't something that was new for our community. We've been talking about this for a long time, and many of our members have been delivering it for a long time. But because of the raised level of awareness and the access to certain technologies that allow us to actually visualize what's going on inside these environments, I think it's created a very compelling event for us to push this storyline and to package it up as you've described. I'm excited to learn more about this healthy home as a new energy efficiency. When will we get to hear about that?
So, we've been talking about incremental things that people are doing. And I think you'll feel a little bit of that as a new energy efficiency when we talk about risks and opportunities, because really those are just where can we take what we've been doing to the next level. So that's a nice transition that we're going to have. It's actually going to tie the series that we've been doing to our summit event that's in November. So at the summit, we're actually going to close the summit this year with some exciting speakers who are really focused on pushing the envelope in this area. Steve Nygren is a builder. If you haven't heard of him before, he actually has a community that he's developed in Atlanta that he designed specifically to be focused all around health and wellness. It's also, in addition to, indoor air quality and access to trails and things like that, there's the whole social and mental component of it. There's the whole, engagement, community engagement, relationships aspect to it, as well as mental health. Certainly we've seen that that's a big issue. So he's looking at the broader landscape and has already been delivering that through Serenbe. And at the same time, he's looking at other things like opportunities for connections to insurance benefits and, some of the bigger landscapes, some of those bigger opportunities that kind of mirror the things that happen in the energy efficiency realm. And he's so excited about what he's been doing that he's actually created an opportunity that he's helping train other people in the industry to take that on as well. Just really is something that he's trying to do to give back to the housing space. He's an interesting character. He was actually in the food industry before. So he did like farm to table type things. So he's got that connectivity back to the food environment, connected back to his community as well. So he's really a good builder who kind of embodies a lot of those ideals. And then we have two economists who are going to join us, two exciting women who are with the Global Wellness Institute. And I would say, I think it was the spring of 2018, they launched a report called Build Well to Live Well. I don't think many people in our industry have heard of that report. They said that they've never been asked about it before from anyone in our industry, but it took hold quite a bit initially with the hospitality industry, so, spas and things of that nature. But they've done a really great job of holistically looking at all the aspects of health within the home itself, within the community, and how you can leverage other programs that have happened in the past. How this is an extension of energy efficiency and new urbanism and green building, and what really will work in that space. And they've got a ton of examples of communities and builders who are already moving toward that realm. And they've got a lot of numbers, a lot of good, interesting data behind it. So I'm excited to hear them share, both the folks from Global Wellness Institute and Serenbe sharing what they're doing, because I think they'll give us a vision for where we could go in the next 5 years, and then our community can take it upon themselves to figure out what they want their incremental steps to be. But I'm excited to hear from both of them and give people an opportunity to ask them questions in November.
It sounds like a great group. And I think something else that's important to add, just knowing from the conversations we've been having, is one of the things that makes this conversation incredibly unique is certainly we've curated the series that will lead up to what's going on in the summit, but we've also woven in the conversation that's happening at different strategic alliances that we have,
Yes.
such as that with EBA and the ULI discussions around healthy places and environments. So we're really stitching that all together to give our community a roadmap that's probably very unique, I'd say, for the industry, right?
Yep, absolutely. I mean, we've been sharing some things as they've been happening incrementally through our website, through our social media. Natalie does a great job of that. But I think probably the bigger value will come as we close out the summit, where we've been in process as we're developing everything to create kind of that roadmap, the whys, the whats, the hows, links to all of the resources we've created, and kind of summarizing and elevating the discussion to a higher level. And I think that's going to be the big value for people, is that e-magazine that they can take as a package deal, and then start kind of refreshing and flipping through the things that they see there, and then deciding what resources they want to revisit. So I think that'll be a fun thing to put together. And as you mentioned, it will link to content that, you know, from Rise and from ULI and from EBA and from Professional Builder and others that we've been collaborating with. So it's fun. It's fun to connect all the dots and connect all the smart people that we've had a chance to talk to. So looking forward to that.
All right, great.